はじめまして。ローラと言います。初めて日本に来たとき、秋田県に留学生として行きました。そして、秋田のすべてに恋に落ちました。なので、秋田のいいところ、全部みんなにシェアしたいです。今、日本語の会話のレッスンを受けていて、練習ビデオをつけています。秋田について何か質問があれば、気軽に来てください。よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。どれぐらい秋田に住んでいたんですか？
全部で2年4ヶ月住んでいました。
あ、そうなんですね。今はどこに住んでいるんですか？
ミネソタ州出身で、今もミネアポリス市の郊外に住んでいます。
あ、そうなんですね。ありがとうございます。
ありがとうござい
じゃ
ます。
あ、ロンさん、by the way, congratulations on your self-introduction. I really impressed.
Thank
Well
you.
done. So Laura-san, you actually have a unique self-introduction about Akita prefecture and also Akita Inu. You're really actually, into that part. And I would like to actually know you better and also what is your plan and what you actually decide, how do you decided to learn Japanese? So can you tell me where are you right now and then why you decided to learn Japanese this year?
Yeah, so I'm currently in Minneapolis, a Minneapolis suburb, so Minnesota in the United States. I started learning Japanese when I first went as a foreign exchange student to Akita in 2016. And from 2018 to 2020, I lived there as in Akita Prefecture as a ALT. I love, like, as you mentioned, I love all things Akita. I have an Akita Inu that I actually got while I lived over there. Her name is Hime. And the reason I'm continuing to pursue Japanese is because I have people there that I love in Akita that I want to be able to communicate with because English is not as big of a skill when you go into Akita Prefecture. So I want to be able to call them and talk to them. And then also, I want to perhaps do like a tourist revitalization sort of business in Akita Prefecture. I would love to promote it, and I'm working on building my own website to actually have a calendar of stuff going on in Akita to try and promote it within in Japanese as well as in English because I really want people to experience the Tohoku region, specifically Akita. I'm a little biased, as my best friend always tells me. We went to Tokyo and I was like, Akita's better, Akita's better. And she finally turned to me and she went, I think you're biased. So that's what's kind of pushing me forward is I really want people to experience it because it was such a magical and formative time of my life. And to be able to share that with people, like I know my dad is also like he loves Akita as much as I do, but I think it's because I talk about it all the time, like, food and all that. And that's what's pushing me forward to actually speak Japanese.
So yeah, you're actually into Akita, and then you mentioned that it's your even father like loves Akita because you always talk about Akira, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. And then in 2025, a lot of people actually going to the States, even though people actually don't know about even Japanese culture. It's just so famous destination, but a lot of people just go to Tokyo and Osaka and Kyoto, not really go to northern Japan or really rural Japan. It's
Yeah.
Akira is like a really typical, beautiful rural Japan, and it's northern Japan. It's so quiet, so pure. So, um, how would you like to actually recommend to American people just to actually know about only Tokyo, Osaka?
I Sako always asks me this, and I say, "What do you like?" Because I guarantee there's something in Akita that you like. I love museums. Akita has some of my favorite museums that I've ever been to. There's one in Kosaka, the railroad town, that has it has got three different museums right next to each other within walking distance that I love going to. If you like hiking, there is some beautiful hiking trails up there. We're right in the valley of the Shirakami Mountains. So Shirakami Sanchi is where I used to live, Noshiro. If you like festivals, there is a lot of really cool festivals you can go to in Akita. One that's really famous is Akita Cities. It's called Kanto, and that's in August, and
Mhm.
that is the rice raising festival. But I am a little bit biased, as I said before. I love going to the Odate Matsuri, and Kirikambo
Mm.
is the local dish that they eat in the fall there. It means half killed rice, and it's
halfway between regular rice and mochi, and then they grill it on a stick, and then they put it in nabe, so it's kirinompo nabe. Or you can have it with sweetened miso grilled again on the stick, and then it's miso kampo. And I love going to that festival. That's probably my favorite festival all time. That one's in October, so unfortunately I wasn't there for
Mm.
it. If you are interested in like cultural items, my favorite manga museum of all time is in Yokote. It is the
Mm.
Masuda Manga Museum, and a lot of museums and those places have English as well. If you want to experience food culture, I definitely recommend checking out the restaurants right next to Akita Station because you can experience a lot of Akita food culture there very easily. But if you go to each city, you're going to discover something different. Like Kiritampo is kind of an Akita prefecture thing, but where I lived in Noshiroshi, they had dango. They did dango tampo. So it's like they would make that rice mixture, make it into balls, and put that instead of grilling it. And getting there is fairly simple. I actually recommend going there via airplane because that's going to be the fastest, but you can get there via Shinkansen bus. If you rent a car, you can drive. Getting
Mhm.
around is going to be the bigger challenge. So if you want to drive and see a lot of Akita, I do recommend getting a rental car. It is not that scary. Um, the trick that I learned from my fellow Americans that live there is the driver's always in the middle of the road. So you're going to be on the side of the car, but just make sure the driver's in the middle of the road and you'll be fine.
Amazing. And Laura-san, you came back to the States now and you decided to learn Japanese with us, Japan Language Factory. 2025, there are many ways to learn Japanese. Some people watch anime, some people actually go into the textbook, some people actually talk to a chat GPT, like a lot of chatbot, AI application, mobile application. There's so many actual ways to learn Japanese. And why you chose Japan Language Factory over thousands of choices?
So I have done a lot of different Japanese learning programs, and I would say that my vocabulary and my grammar is really strong. I could not speak Japanese to save my life. I would get so anxious and I would say like palm sweating. In Akita, they speak Akita Ben, so it's a very slow way of speaking. They talk
Mhm.
really slow, and that's what I was used to. And so when I started engaging with more standard Japanese, it's like I couldn't talk and I would get so panicked. And I started researching different ways to get more practice speaking because I can pass the written and the grammar test for the JLPTs no problem, but the listening and speaking I cannot pass. Like I failed 4 times. And I was like, okay, I really want to work on that. I know that's going to be a really important thing. And the other challenge that I had was a lot of the speaking practice you have is very specific to only that scenario. But what I want to talk about is not necessarily textbook Japanese. Like I want to practice my encouraging tourism or, talking to people about things that I love about Japan. And that's what really drew me to the Japanese language factory was that you kind of make the lesson what you need it to be, not necessarily
Mhm.
what the textbook is allowing it to be. I've
Mhm.
learned a lot of new words, and that's been really fun because I feel like I have the most textbook Japanese. And I also
Mhm.
feel like I can keep up with perhaps more of a standard Japanese speaking level.
Amazing. Just a lot of people think that, okay, if I go to Japan, I'm going to be able to speak, or if I just actually using language apps, maybe I'm going to learn. It's difficult to see what's going to happen. So you already try a lot and it's only speaking, listening was always difficult. And
Oh
then
yeah.
yes, right. So, what do you think about the next step about yourself? Because now you have a basic fluency. You actually, join this YouTube recording, talking to camera in Japanese. It's a big progress because when I saw you first time, was like almost like everything is so nervous to say one sentence. Right now,
But
you can have a confidence. And so, what is your plan? Either you're gonna go back to Akita one day, or what's your plan so far?
I want to go back to Akita one day. I want to buy a house. I when I was there, I stayed at like kind of a farmer inn, and you got to like hang out with the farmers there. And I was like, could I do something like that? I don't know. Like that's a pretty big commitment, but I would love to have a house there and to be able to like, take live footage, take more recent photos while I can promote it here in Minnesota. My dream is to go back there and whether, it's to run an inn or whether or not it's to just encourage tourism there. That's what I ultimately really want to do. I'm like what if NHK and I did a collaboration? Because NHK, they did one on Hachiko, and I'm like, I know that entire area, and I was like, well, I could like, I don't know, collaborate with NHK about because I love Akita, and like, I know I haven't talked about it in this interview, but I like that when I first went to Japan, I spoke no Japanese, and I had such severe anxiety, and I went to a talk about Akita news, and at the end we got to meet one, and the one that we met was named Nono, and Nono gave me a little kiss, and it was almost like Nono was telling me like it's gonna be okay. And from that point on, I've been absolutely obsessed with the breed. I would love to do more revitalization and education on the breed, in that sense as well, because people I think look at them and they think they're like the one I have, Hime-san. People always assume she's a Shiba. She's not. They're vastly different breeds. I love the Nihonken entire like area. I would love to do more education on that, but I would have to learn more on that because like ask me about Akita, I can tell you virtually anything. You ask me about like a Shizuoka Ken, I can't really say much.
Amazing. So your dream is to go back to Akita and also maybe having Akita Inu and having
I'm for
some
sure gonna have
real
one, yeah,
life.
if not
Yeah.
two.
Amazing. Yeah. You're gonna definitely be a representative of Akira to or foreigners because it's not still a common destination. So everybody should learn more rural life in Japan, something more pure, more traditional. So yeah, please keep going and present more to the world. Not on Tokyo, Osaka is great, but it's not only that. About
Yeah,
Japan. It's yes,
I feel like
amazing.
everyone should go there once, but you should experience other stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I always tell people. Are like when my best friend's like, "Well, I want to go to Japan." I'm like, "We got to go to Tokyo once. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta hit up Tokyo. You gotta experience some of the highlights because those are the fun things to do." And then I dragged her up to Akita, and we saw the dog show, and I brought her to some of my favorite museums, and we went on some of my favorite hiking trails out there. I know Sendai, so Sendai is like the big city in Tohoku. People have been going more to Sendai, which is very exciting because I love Tohoku. I love everything about Tohoku, but you're still getting the big city feel. Like you should try and go outside of Sendai. Whether it's like Morioka's not that far away, but if you just keep
Mm-hmm.
going, you can hit Akita.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing. So, Laura-san, because you're the person who tried a lot of things, textbook, and even you have lived in Japan, and also always it was difficult to talk and also get nervous to really talk, even though you study even grammar. So, if anybody actually has the same experience like you, what is your advice for you to really, overcome this, even the basic fluency?
I think finding a speaking partner, I know people go with AI and chat GPT. You're dealing with not a native speaker. You're like not even necessarily native, but you're not dealing with a human. You're not dealing with somebody that can understand those contexts. I'm not a big proponent of that. I don't even like it's like I'm an English teacher as well. I don't like that at all. So finding a speaking partner in that sense is really going to be very helpful, even if it's just your friend, but also like finding a native speaker that speaks with you outside of your friends. Like for me, I speak Japanese to my dogs. Like that's one of the ways I practice my Japanese is I tell my dogs about my day in Japanese, because they don't care. They're just happy I'm paying attention to them. And taking that dive and being ready to put yourself out there, but in a safe space. For me, it was really important. It's like it's one person. They know what I'm saying. I'm not going to accidentally offend them by saying something totally out of pocket that I don't know what I'm saying. So that would be my biggest advice is finding that speaking partner. And for me, like I've been with Asako-san the entire time. I adore her. She's been absolutely wonderful. And she knows what I'm trying to say sometimes, even though I didn't say it all the way the right. And there's a lot of different ones out there that you can go through. Like I know some people like ChatGPT, some people like Preply. I really like the Japanese Language Factory because it's like the textbook, and I'm working through topics that I'm interested in, and I'm not necessarily having to create the entire conversation. Like she's a really good conversation partner in the sense of when I start stalling out, she knows how to prompt me to get going with the conversation. So that would be my advice and why I would choose you guys over the other ones. I still use my textbooks to beef up my vocabulary and other aspects, but that's what I recommend for speaking.
Thank you so much, Laura-san. That's why you're going to go for a level 2. So you just started,
Yes.
and yes, keep going. And I'm excited to see even at the end of the level 2, you're gonna come back to this YouTube recording again and present something another level.
Yes, for sure. Maybe we
Yeah,
can do an interview in Japanese one day.
yeah. Why not? Amazing, Laura-san. Thank you so much, and keep it up.
Thank you. Have a good day.